All right, welcome back. I want to look into this trade rumor a little more. Bruins acquiring Claude Giroux from the Philadelphia Flyers. Really weird combination. Got my Flyers jersey, got my Bruins hat. I don't know. We're going back 10, 15 years. They were bitter rivals, and every game was a slog. So let's look into it. So, first off, Claude Giroux has a full no movement clause. Full. So it's not like he submits a 10-team no-trade list or whatever. It's no team. Can't trade him to any team without him waiving it. Claude Giroux was a part of the Bruins-Flyers rivalry in the late 2000s and before that. I don't know. I don't know if he would waive that to go to a franchise rival, especially being a career-long Flyer. He's 34 years old now. He came into the league when he was 20, all with Philadelphia. That is probably the biggest red flag in this trade. He might. Times have changed, but who knows? Another thing, he has an $8.275 million cap hit for the end of this season. He's a UFA this summer. Boston's deadline cap is at about $5 million. I think it's really close to $5 million. It's like 4.97 or something. So they'd have to move at least 3.275 out to be compliant to accommodate Claude Giroux' salary. So they'd be doing all this for 32 games of Claude Giroux plus the playoffs. Claude Giroux would obviously slot into that second line center position, playing with hopefully Pastrnak and Taylor Hall will be on the second line. What seems to be kind of the going rate for a solid second line player or top pairing defenseman is a first, a prospect, and an existing player. The Bruins would have to move out an existing player to be cap compliant in order to make this deal. Let's kind of dive into Claude Giroux' stats and what you might actually see for the rest of the season, assuming he trends the same way. Career games this season, 48. Career games. Season games, 48. He has 16 goals, 22 assists, 38 points. The Bruins need that production, especially from a guy who can be a number one center. Should Patrice Bergeron go out, he'll be a great number two center. He averages 19 minutes and 13 seconds of time on ice per game, which is about what Charlie Coyle averages when he plays in the second line position, so that lines up perfectly. But his face-off percentage this season is 61.7%. As with Bergeron and John Tavares, as these guys age, their face-off percentage is drastically increased. They get better with face-offs as they age. It's fun to watch. Notable too, Claude Giroux is a great two-way forward. He puts up a lot of points, but he also plays responsible defense. That's always been admirable. I've always respected that part of his game. He loves the points. He loves dishing the puck and getting those nice breakaway goals. But at the same time, he's older. He's a little slower than he used to be, and he's playing responsible defense. So this kind of reminds me of the Rick Nash deal that Don Sweeney pulled the trigger on. It'll actually be 4 years ago tomorrow, on the 25th of February. It'll be 4 years ago when Bruins traded for Rick Nash, who stuck around for the end of the season. So that was fun. So it's very comparable, right? You got a captain in Rick Nash. You got two guys that are older, probably ready to, the team or the players ready to move on or separate because of changing times, mostly with the teams. Flyers probably going to go through a rebuild of some type. Rangers went through a retool, weren't playoff contenders. Both older guys, both great careers. Questionable stats to have their number retired by their respective clubs, but nonetheless in the talk to have their number retired by their respective clubs. So the Bruins trade for Rick Nash, they because it's been 4 years, we kind of reflect on what's happened since then. Who really won that trade? So they gave him Ryan Spooner, who actually played well The following season, he had 16 points in 20 games, but that was kind of it for his production. I don't remember, and I haven't looked too much into it. I know he bounced around to a few teams. I don't know if he had injury issues, but he kind of never really produced since. Never played a full season in the NHL since. Very like 20 game seasons, and he hasn't played a game since the 2018-2019 season. So, great. Next guy up is Ryan Lindgren, who at the time was a Bruins prospect. He's now 24. He's now a top 4 defenseman for the New York Rangers. It's a great pickup for the New York Rangers. He's excellent. The 2018 first round pick they had was Lundqvist. He's progressing well. He actually just broke into the NHL this year with the New York Rangers, performing pretty decently. I think he's got a really bright future. So if you're getting 2 solid defensive men out of that draft, like that's a steal for an aging Rick Nash with a heavy contract when you're looking to retool. These 2 guys are going to be huge for the future. They also had a 7th round pick from the Bruins. Was it Ryan Hughes? I think they drafted from a high school out of Massachusetts. I think he's from Westwood. Fun fact, I actually worked in Westwood for a couple of years. Unrelated, but yeah, so we'll see. He's currently playing at Northeastern University. He's another defensive guy, and he's playing actually pretty well. I don't know if we'll see him get the chance to play in the NHL. You get a lot of exposure playing in Hockey East and playing on solid teams in Hockey East. It's a lot of exposure, and NHL teams are more likely to give you the chance to at least play in the NHL. Prime example is Chad Ruhwedel. Chad Ruhwedel of the Pittsburgh Penguins. I actually went to the same college as him at the same time. But it's just kind of an example, and there was a bunch of those guys that will at least get the chance to play minor league hockey. Ben Holmstrom comes to mind. He was the captain of UMass Lowell back in 2010, the 09-10 season. There's a bunch of guys that end up like that, and some of their careers don't pan out. So we'll see what happens with the 7th pick. I mean, who knows? It's a shot in the dark. Could be a steal. It might not be. But so kind of a general synopsis of all this. Claude Giroux has to waive his no movement clause to go to a club rival. Who knows? The Bruins will have to dish out some salary to make room for for Claude Giroux's contract. Claude Giroux's not even going to play a full half season in Boston if they trade for him. Will he be a great fit? Yeah, no question, no doubt. Will he be a great player to make one last push with the Bruins core? Yeah, no question. Are you giving up too much and potentially the future for 32 more games this season and a playoff run, which it's going to be tough this year in the East. It's going to be, every round is going to be a slog, especially if the Bruins are a wild card team. Your chances aren't as great as other years. Nonetheless, if they get Claude Giroux, there is a chance. But how good is that chance with Giroux, and is it worth giving up pieces of the future? I mean, again, we saw him give up Ryan Lindgren and a first overall pick in 2018, who looks to be the real deal so far. I mean, he's still only like 20-something games into his NHL career, so take that with a grain of salt. But nonetheless, that's 2 defensive pairings the Bruins would currently have for a minor or a 2-way contract salary, a rookie contract. You don't have to pay these guys 3x3 deals to come in and not be a top pairing defenseman like Ryan Lindgren is. So it's just kind of food for thought. Personally, while it'd be nice to see Giroux, kind of change roles, go with another team, make a playoff push, and we don't know how long he's going to play. His stats are slowly decreasing. They're not like alarmingly declining, but every few seasons his point production per game is slightly less than the season before. at least going back 3-4 years. So I don't know. It would be nice to see. Yeah, it'd be exciting for the Bruins and their fans. Yes, but for how long? For this season, they can't really afford to re-sign him next season with the current contracts they have, especially with McAvoy getting that nice nice pay raise. So I don't know. Personally, I'd rather them go see. I'd rather the Bruins go spend a package similar to this. Hopefully, you don't have to give up as much as this. A first and a prospect it's quite a bit. But, you know, maybe get a younger guy. I like the idea of JT Miller coming to Boston, but, you know, there are other options, right? A lot younger options, too. Just think of Strome in Chicago. Strome for DeBrusque straight up. That would be sweet. But, I don't know. It'd be a cool deal. I don't think it would be a smart deal for the future and really for next season for the Bruins. Good for this season, and then that's it. Whereas the Flyers would be good for in a couple years down the line. What do you think? Do you think Giroux ends up as a Bruin, or do you think this is actually a good deal? Dude, let me know. I get excited when I get comments, and it's fun to read them and respond. And so that's it. This keeps coming up. It just every time the Bruins are mentioned or Claude Giroux is mentioned, they're always linked together, approaching this trade deadline. And I don't know, man. It's kind of, I wish people would talk about other potential trades that the Bruins could make, because I could totally see Don Sweeney pulling the trigger on this and sacrificing the future for this season again. And I don't think the Bruins are in that position anymore like they used to be, to be making moves like that. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I appreciate you guys watching, and take care. All right.